Hi, everybody. My name is Stacey Anderson, and I am one of the co-hosts for Better Together, a podcast for the Work Skills Foundation. And I'm so excited because, well, we missed Julie Smith, my other co-host, who's usually here. We have two greats filling in. We've got Danielle Maj from the board. Hi, Danielle. Hi. And Rob Johnson from the board. And also for hosting us today, too, through Wayne Media. Thank you very much.
Of course. Always welcome.
Yeah.
On the business days, not weekends.
Don't worry. So we're here today just to kind of come together and talk a little bit. We're halfway through the year, and we've done some pretty great things, I want to say, not to pat ourselves on the back, but to pat ourselves on the back as a board and just kind of regroup and allow the community to regroup with us to talk a little bit about what the foundation does, who we are, what we do, and some of the great things that we have done here in the first part of the year, but more importantly, all of the great things that are yet to come as we go into the balance of the year and talk a little bit about the need and what we're seeing in the community in general, and then how we as a community can be here to support our community members. So I think, before that, we were kind of just chatting a little bit about what it means to be on a board and how esteemed that sounds. And it is such an honor, and it is a privilege to be a board member. But what it means to be specifically on the foundation board. And, I would love, because Danielle, not only are you a board member, but you are our board president. I would love to kind of hear, how long you've been involved and what it is for you to be on the Work Skills Foundation board.
That's a hard one, how long I've been involved. Julie wrangled me in 10 years ago.
Well, we all get to talk about Julie because she's not here. So she could have wrangled you in last year.
Right. Yeah, I got involved about 10 years ago on Women of Work Skills. So Julie asked me to come.
Wait. I'm going to back it up here. Yeah. What's Women of Work Skills?
Women of Work Skills is a satellite group, I'll call it, of the foundation, where women come together. They give a donation once per year. It's usually a larger donation. I'm not sure.
I think it's $1,200 for a year, which that's pretty. Yeah. That's a nice donation.
Our goal, I think, every year is 50 members, if I'm correct. This is so bad that I'm the chair and I don't have correct information.
That's not true, though.
No, you're 100% so far.
Yeah. So it's $1,200, but we give back to the women by way of some kind of social event every quarter. So it's fun because it gives us an opportunity to get together. We usually hear a participant of the corporation talk and learn a little bit more about the services that we are providing or the little wins that we have on a monthly or weekly or daily basis. So it's just a nice group of women that get together, and we get to celebrate work skills, but also learn more about each other. I think sometimes when you write a check, you don't always meet everyone else that is writing the same type of checks. So Julie asked me to come in for a tour years ago when I first got involved, and that tour was supposed to be a half hour, so she said, but she lied to me. No, I'm a talker, so it ended up being 3 hours.
Wow.
And I didn't have any connection to to Work Skills Corporation at the time. I didn't really know what it was. I'd heard the name a couple times, but I didn't know what they did there. And I knew Julie from another organization that she worked at. And I was blown away. I was blown away by just the resources, what they did with the resources that they have and how many people they were helping.
Yeah. And isn't that funny? Because I feel like that's the natural response whenever you hear anyone who goes in for a tour is, oh, wow, I had no idea.
Yeah. I left there thinking, first of all, wow, I had such a poor, how would I describe it?
Perception, maybe?
Yeah. Perception of someone with barriers, what that included, right? So everyone, and still when I talk about work skills to someone that doesn't know what we do, if I say someone with barriers, before I can even say with barriers, they're like, oh, autism. Well, no, that's not. But if you don't know what you don't know, right? And so it's nice that I feel like we are all out there opening that door up a little farther for people with barriers and to stop making it seem like it's just one thing, right? So that was what was surprising to me. And everybody that was there working or participating in any of the programs, they all had a place. That's what drew me in.
Responsibility. Yeah, that's true. I've never thought of it that way. That if they are not there, it is a problem.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I mean, even down to some of the participants, Julie had explained, and at the time I didn't know, some of the participants, just sorting nuts and bolts, right? And they were getting paid to do that, and I think that us as a society, we don't realize that there really is a place in the business world for those with barriers, whatever they are, PTSD, autism, closed head injury, whatever it is. So I think that was a big eye-opener for me. I remember leaving there and calling my dad immediately. You got to go on a tour. So I was hooked right from there. So I joined I joined WOW. And then thereafter, I think a year after I joined WOW, Julie approached me about being on the board. And I said, okay. But I didn't know what I was doing, right? I'm like, oh, okay, I'll sit on the board. What do you need me to do, right? I mean, I can write a check, not much, but I can write a check. And she's like, no. You don't have to just write a check. Come sit on the board and help us make a difference.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what I was doing, but it's been a really interesting road for me. And these last 2 years have been a lot of fun for me because I was the chair last year. I'm the chair this year.
Thank you.
And thanks. It's been fun. I mean, it's had its challenges, but I see the board wanting to be more, they want to participate more. And so that I think is the most heartfelt for me right now, is seeing everyone want to be a part of it and want to make it bigger and want to raise more money, all of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered your questions.
I feel like that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Rob, what drew you to work skills in the board in particular? Because and I will stop here. Rob is our vice chair on the board. So
He's our Superman.
Superman. He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes a lot of things happen.
More of like a figurehead. I'm like the Queen of England. People think I'm important, but I have no power.
Yeah. Well,
What?
we weren't going to say that.
It's transparency.
I don't know. You've helped us make some pretty hard decisions.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed being on the board. But what led me to that was Julie had interviewed me. I don't know, talked to me. I think I actually interviewed her during a podcast for the Brighton Chamber, and there was so much to work skills that I didn't understand after that interview because she was explaining it, and at the time they were building like a new housing project. And this was in like 2021, I think, when I first interviewed her. And it just seemed like it was multifaceted, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. And then I went and did a tour, and I was like, well, I said, the least I can do is I can do like a video for you guys. I can put together just like a 2 to 3 minute clip of like a tour of the facility, interview some of the board members. And at the time I wasn't on the board. So I remember I interviewed you, Mike, a couple people that were at Work Skills. And if you're on the audio version of this podcast, I pointed to Danielle when I said you.
Thank you for the context.
Of course. And then later on that year, Julie had asked me if I would want to be on the board, and I said yes. But I said, anytime I'm involved in a board, like I'm not a passive board member. Like I'm very active, and that can really irritate people sometimes because I want to make sure that things are being done properly, especially like on the financial end of the business. And she's like, nope, that's great. And then I had met you, Stacey, and then I met Danielle, and it was like, it all worked out like really well from the beginning, I thought. And, we were able to make a lot of really big strides really quickly. And you guys already had a lot of that stuff in motion. I was just kind of along for the ride. So that was nice. And then, fast forward to this year, I guess at the end of last year, we had a really cool Giving Tuesday event.
That was so fun.
Hosted by you.
Yes, thank you very much, Wayne Media and Rob, for hosting our Giving Tuesday.
That was a great time. Everyone in my office was like, what the hell is going on? So it was super wild and fun. It was a really good day, though. I think we ended at like 9 o'clock at night, something like that.
Oh, my gosh.
And it was just a lot of fun. And then that gave us, I think, a ton of momentum going into this year. And this year is going to be demonstrably better than even last year was. And it was a great year. So I've always really enjoyed the work that the foundation has done in that it's very specific. It's very measured. It's not general. If anyone has been in a board meeting with me, I hate general and miscellaneous categories. I want to know exactly what we're doing and what we're working on and what we can actually focus on to make a difference. Can we demonstrate it? Can we show, hey, we raised 10 grand here and that money went here and made 15 people's lives better? Can we show that? And we can. And the more we're able to do that, the bigger and bigger the foundation's going to get.
Yeah.
And the more people are going to help.
Yeah, I agree. And, you bring up a good point about how, I think Danielle said it and you said it, Rob, passive board participation is not a thing on the foundation board.
Not at all.
It is not a come and rubber stamp and see you in a couple months kind of board. We are active. We have a ton of fun. But we do a lot of work too. And I think that's because we have seen the need, at least, so I've been involved since 2017 in different capacities, but we've seen the need shift over that time, where certainly COVID was its own thing, but where the corporation provides this wonderful platform for individuals to shine their brightest and remove those barriers. But we're seeing those barriers shift. And we're seeing it through small gaps and small needs, and where the foundation comes in. That's where I think that people get confused. Even, as a board member, we deal with this too on our own board, where people say, okay, well, what are we actually fundraising for? Well, we're fundraising to fill in those gaps, because there's so many things that fall into that miscellaneous category for the corporation, where they want to help, but it's very difficult. We're able to swoop in and kind of provide that special assistance.
So give
needed.
them an example. Sorry to interrupt you. Give the listeners an example of what you mean by a gap, or a couple examples.
For sure. I'll start off. You guys fill in the gaps, if you will. So right now, healthcare in general is very difficult to navigate, as for anybody, let alone individuals with children or family members with barriers or special needs. There's no help, and it's very confusing. And we're finding that there is an increase in the community of individuals who need resources, anything from speech to OT or things like that for kids or family members. And we're finding those situations come up more often than not, where we can come in and provide that assistance. And the only way that we can come in and provide that assistance is through fundraising through the community. And that's been so fun, I think, over the past couple of years, is to illuminate what that means when you give $1 to the foundation. Right. This isn't just going into a bucket and being saved for a rainy day. This is going directly to work to make sure that this family, this theoretical family that I'm talking about, but the very real family out there, is able to benefit from the expert services at Work Skills. And I know that's just one example of many, but I would say that that's been a huge shift in the funding needs that we've seen over the years. Not to mention the actual need is just increasing. Left and right, especially coming out of COVID, when there's families who may not have. I know I'm kind of monopolizing the conversation, but you guys got me on my soapbox here.
Go.
You're good.
Go, Stacey, go.
Well, when you have families who might not have needed the services that Work Skills provides, in a different situation, but now they've been affected through the pandemic and through the lockdowns, and you might have children who struggle with speech or struggle with OT needs. Well, guess who can provide some support there? Work Skills. Guess who can come in and help in case you weren't planning on supporting that need? The foundation. So it's just really nice to sort of see, the foundation and Work Skills Corporation allow us all to be nimble enough to fill in these gaps, especially when you don't know what's coming down the pike. And what's cool about the board is that the board is nimble enough and open enough to say, okay, what do we need? What's the challenge? And then tackle it from there. And Rob, you're really good too at when there is a shift in the challenge, critically thinking about it and bringing it to the board and having us all dissect it versus, and I don't want to be a board basher here, but a typical situation where you have 10% of the, it's a group project, right? 10% of the membership working on 90% of the problems. No, that's not it at all. We're such a team, and I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's important too, because like for me, anytime, even in like my company, like people know, do not come to me with a problem unless you have one solution. And I don't care how bad your solution is. Just that just shows me that you thought through it, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Shows me that you're coming to me with something other than just like, hey boss, here's a problem. It's like, well, what's a option for us to get out of this? And for the board, it's the same thing. Like I would say our board is variable in that there's a new set of challenges that come in at least every quarter, and our job is to solve those challenges and build infrastructures and solutions for people that have those needs. We've done that really well. We're going to continue doing that as more awareness spreads about work skills. The demand for what we do is going to grow as well. And I think we've done a good job of building guardrails around those things so we can solve and hopefully meet all of those demands that are out there.
Right. I think that's a great way of putting it. Well, in that solving of problems, why don't we talk a little bit about what happened last week?
Oh, sorry. It was exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah, the tornadoes in the Midwest.
What?
Wild.
We had our annual golf outing.
We did.
That too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Opportunities.
It was a very steamy day, I would say, out at Oak Point. Yeah, on Monday. What was that? Monday the 20th?
What was Monday? Yeah.
Yeah. Last Monday. Can you believe it?
Usually we get rain, so it was beautiful.
It was
sunny.
Beautiful. Yeah. It was hot and fun. Yeah, so that is our largest fundraiser of the year, fundraising event. And I should say, while these events are so critical from a fundraising perspective, they're also critical from getting our message out and exposing a lot of different people to what we do and who we are through the power of golf, right?
Yeah. I think my favorite part of it is that a lot of people who support work skills will bring others that don't know what work skills is.
Right.
So they introduce them. It's really cool because actually people will actually stop and ask questions. Mm-hmm. That's the way it should be. We just need to get everyone in on a tour though.
Right.
That's where the magic happens.
Good point.
I think is the tours of work skills.
I agree completely. And to that point, little foreshadowing, I know we're going to talk about the balance of the year, but we're going to have a similar event without the golf. In September, we're going to be doing a breakfast that is going to bring everyone together to do just that, learn about work skills, and give them a platform to tour as well. So that's coming up. I don't have a date for you yet, but it's in the works. That's one of the challenges as a board that we're trying to solve right now. It was a wonderful day. We've got some basic numbers back, and we raised more than ever, but we kind of expected to raise more than ever because that need is greater than ever.
Yeah. And I'll say too, like Mike and then the rest of the people on the board that were part of this, just did a tremendous job. But also they built the golf outing this year differently for that goal in mind. It was all very thoughtful. It wasn't like, wow, all this just unexpected donations just showed up. Like it was because there was, again, more of a need. So the infrastructure, you guys and Mike had built all of that around the golf outing, and it was exactly what we wanted it to be.
Yeah, it was really nice. One thing that happened for you listeners, if you want to go back to a Better Together podcast from 2023, we had Heather and Lori at the golf outing, who were, I think, one of our first interviews on the podcast with Julie and I. And if you'll remember, Heather is a 30-something lady who also happens to have Down syndrome, who is out there killing it through work skills. She has, through her business and her earnings from work skills, she's refurbished her apartment. She's bought an e-bike. She's bought an entire wardrobe. She's purchased. She's purchased many things for her, but she's very self-sufficient in a world that basically told her that she couldn't be, that her life is meant to be at home playing on her iPad. And anytime that her and her mother went out to go get her a job so she'd have a sense of purpose, she was told, no, we can't help you. No, we don't hire people like you. And then they found work skills, and it was the answer to all those problems. But they were there. They were able to tell their story, both her and her mother. Yeah. And then what was so cool was we offered an opportunity for anybody who came to give. And Heather raised her paddle and gave 100 of her own dollars back to work skills. Amazing. Oh my gosh.
And I looked out in the crowd. There were so many people that had their mouths open.
Yeah.
Pretty shocked that she was doing that.
That was amazing.
But she always wants to help others as well. That's what I do love about her. She talks about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, so context, everybody, it's only been a week and 1 day since the golf outing, but I was so blown away by that. I run in a lot of nonprofit and philanthropy-based circles through my business, and I have shared that story no less than 10 times because it is just so impactful. I'm just so continuously impressed with that girl. She's an amazing woman. I should say woman. It was incredible. And so now we get to use those funds and put them directly to work for all those individuals who are finding themselves at a loss, and that's what was my big takeaway from Heather's story was they had no idea how to navigate this world. Nobody was planning on helping them, and they were just at a loss for what to do. And now we get to come in and be supporters for individuals like that, which I think is very cool.
Yeah, I think it goes too to show like a working model of what people can expect when they work with work skills. So here you have these people whose lives were completely changed. The more we tell that story and the more we amplify it, the more people that it's going to resonate with, and they're going to see how they can use work skills to overcome whatever challenges they're facing.
Yeah, I love that too. And really, you look at being told no, and you can't. And we just are such a conduit to saying, yes, we can, and watch me. And I think that is why I like being on the board as much as I do, because we get to be kind of spiteful, spitfires and underdogs and say, watch me.
There's been many times in board meetings where we have looked at each other and said, why can't we?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Can't we do that?
Yeah.
Right?
No, we've never done that in the past. So
what's your point?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Why
Sounds
can't
like
we
a great
do that?
opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing that we haven't touched on is over the years, the golf outing obviously has evolved, which is awesome. And there's been a different form of volunteers through that. But in the last year, we've been really fortunate to have the development committee. So a group of
shout
people
out
that
development committee.
Right. So that's something that we've done in the last year. We've talked about it for years to try and get volunteers to come in, and how do we call people to say thank you for your donations? How do we, just help in general? Go to the golf outing, go to work skills and volunteer however we can. How do we get people in to take a tour? And so that's been really cool in the last year, where we've got a group of volunteers that have come in, and Miss Stacey has graciously decided to head that up. I don't know how you do it.
I just show up and the magic happens.
But I think that's what's been a big win for us this last year, because we have more people on our side that are not paid by the corporation and that are not just on the board, right? We have individuals that are willing to you can call them up and say, hey, can you just come do X, Y, Z? And they'll do it. And we need that. We need those volunteers. We need that help to create a bigger reach. And we did that. What was it? A breakfast at Halloween, right? So we did a tour. I believe there was like 20 people that were there. We just wanted them to come see what Work Skills was about, do something kind of special for Halloween. And that was really cool. And then we did Giving Tuesday, and that was all part of the development committee of making sure that we did a little phone-a-thon basically, and also thanked them, right? And then today, after this, we're going to call people and say thank you. And we didn't have that support before.
Yeah.
We all had busy lives, and there wasn't that much support in the corporation necessarily to sit down and every day call someone, right?
Exactly.
And so we've been fortunate that we have more people that have stepped up and want to be a part of it.
We talk about how much fun we have and the challenges, and when this isn't done without new blood. We need thought partners and good ideas and people who want to plug in at any level, whether it's, yes, I want to join the board, or, I can maybe do a meeting a month or a couple weeks or whatever that may be. We are always looking for people and ideas. And this is not a blanket statement. We want to hear them, and we will give you the platform to tell us them and see what we can do to put them into action. And so anyone who's out there listening or watching,
we need you.
We need you. We need you to help tell these stories. And a lot of times I think when people think of board work or committee work or volunteering, they think of, it's going to be this huge lift, time-wise or mentally or financially. It can be whatever you want it to be, but we need your help, and we have a great plan that we can plug you into too. So, you're not starting from scratch, but the picture isn't fully done either.
Yeah. Then you see the results. You see the results.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest thing, is I know I've been a part of groups before where it's a ton of heavy lifting. It's a ton of admin work, and you don't really see the fruits of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, it's pretty clear, with what you're working on this month is going to make a major impact in what's happening. So think about the 2 months prior to the golf outing and all the work DEFCON did to get that in place. And then here we are, May 20th, you see the results of all of that. And then you're going to see another result of all those funds that were raised and how they impact people within that community. It's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Just keep setting the world on fire, right?
Yep. Yeah. I've got my lighter.
Well, that's the thing. I really liked last year, like when we were thinking about like, what is this year going to look like? Some people are of the opinion of like, well, we should just do 5% more than last year. It's like, well, why? Why are we limiting ourselves like that?
Right.
Like, let's put ourselves in a position that, let's be reasonable, but also let's actually try and do something significantly different because these people need it, and we have the ability to do it.
Yep. Yeah. What I really love too is we have the ability to tell stories, and that, I'm going to say it and embarrass you, Rob. That's a direct response to your donation through this podcast and through Wayne Media and all the work there too, is, there's been a saying that work skills has been the best kept secret in Livingston County.
Yeah.
And all these stories are the best kept secret in Livingston County because, you do deal with a little level of stigma with individuals with disabilities. And so far, all of the wonderful people I've met at Work Skills, participant, staff, board member, that is so not true. We want to get these stories out. We need to tell the Heather stories. We need to tell the Randy stories. We need to tell all of the other stories that are out there because they're so inspiring. And like you said, Rob, the more that we're able to share those, the more it's going to resonate with others, more so than, stats or impacts or things like that. And so that's been exciting too, just being able to tell the stories and getting involved. And I would never have known these had I not gotten involved with Work Skills. And so I'm just really grateful to the organization, and we'll say it Julie, because she's she is the heartbeat behind all this, for allowing us to do this on a greater level.
I touched base on this in the beginning about leaving my tour and being pretty surprised by what I learned. And over the years, I've taken some of that into our business. And my theory and philosophy now is, sometimes we get stuck with just thinking someone's not a good worker, right? Because they don't want to do X, Y, Z for us. This is the job. They're supposed to do that. Well, if you stand back and you take a look at what their potential is, right? And what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, do you have a spot for them differently than just that job description, right?
Good point.
And I think a lot of people would learn from that, especially as business owners, of just because they're not doing exactly what I want them to do, well, maybe they're just not capable of that, right? So do they have a different place in your company? And there's been a lot of shifts in our company of moving people around and just saying, okay, maybe they're not capable of doing that. They're capable, but maybe they don't excel at it, is what I'm trying to say. And that was a huge eye-opener for me. Huge. I mean, I think I always thought that, but to actually put it into practice in your own business, seeing those participants and that they all had a place, right? And they didn't just get fired or turned
Right.
down because they couldn't do the exact job that was needed of them. So that was an eye opener for me as a business owner. I don't know where that really plays into this
I love
conversation,
that.
but
No, it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. You just kind of change your practices to be more inclusive in that way. So.
Well, that's the thing too. When I looked at it, you mentioned people with the stigma around, people that have, these barriers, whether it's, you mentioned autism or really anything that is preventing someone from finding work or whatever it may be. I like looking at it. It's just like anybody else that needs assistance, whether it's someone coming to me that needs help with marketing or someone coming to Danielle with construction needs, whatever it might be. It's the same thing. You have a need, I can fix it.
Yeah.
And that's what work skills is. You have a need, we can fix it.
Right.
We don't need to classify it in this special category of like, oh, this is just different. It's just a need and we can fix it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can get you what you need to survive or to thrive.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this has been fun, all.
It has.
Thanks for humoring me and joining me today and letting it be the board-led podcast. Sorry,
Thank you
Julie.
for having me.
We should take this whole setup to the next board meeting. Just
I
do
think
a
that would
live
be
board
so
meeting.
fun.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Be a
Right?
good time.
Yeah.
People be,
I would do
people
it.
be terrified.
Oh yeah, there'd be people cry. If it was this was my first time, and I was nervous, mostly because of the mic and where do I sit and what do I say, and
It's very intimidating.
yeah. But I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
I wonder if we need to send that email out after this.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see like who's going to be approving agenda items after that. No one's going to be like, we need a motion. No one's talking.
No one. Hey, it's public knowledge either way, right?
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean,
It's like a
Absolutely.
school board meeting or something.
that might be something we need to consider moving forward.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll do it live.
Yeah.
Do it live.
Yeah.
Bill O'Reilly.
Do it live.
But there needs to be a censor button. Like a
Absolutely.
beep 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 beep.
This sounds like you're sending a telegraph.
And nobody can eat M&Ms on the mic. Like
No.
you can't just hear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's I know that's Johnny's favorite sound to hear in
Really?
the studio. Absolutely. He loves it.
Oh, that's okay. I had a couple sniffles today, and I thought, oh boy,
No, you guys are good.
Yeah.
That was good.
this
It
was
was
fun.
good. That was fun.
Thank
Can we
you.
take these off? Because
Well, yeah, close the show.
Yeah.
that's all on it. Oh,
You gotta, that's all going to be in there. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just got to look at that camera and tell everyone how much you appreciated them listening.
thank you so much for joining us today on another podcast of Better Together. This is a podcast put together for the Work Skills Foundation to tell the stories of the foundation and the corporation and all the magic that happens there. Thank you, Rob and Danielle, for joining us today and just kind of elaborating on how special and fun it is to be involved with the skills, if you will. We're always looking for volunteers like we talked about today at any capacity. We need you. We need your expertise and things that you do every day. I'll challenge you listeners with this. Things that you do every day that you don't think is special or helpful are incredibly helpful to this organization. We need new perspectives. We need new thought partners. We need people who just want to be involved and be around the magic of the corporation and the foundation. So be sure to reach out and get involved. And like we said, we're going to have a lot of opportunities coming up here in the balance of the year. I know that it's only the end of May when we're shooting this, but we have, great ways to plug in. And we talked about it a couple times today about Giving Tuesday. Rob, I'm going to put you on the spot here and say Giving Tuesday Part 2 is coming back this year, maybe?
It is. We'll be here.
So all of you, please join us for this magical day. That's the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. I don't have the specific date in my head right now, but it's so much fun. We can't wait to share some more details about that. But thank you all, and we're looking forward to some more great work.
Thank you.